thank you, Mooji, for having us today and having this opportunity to answer questions for everyone.
Thank you. Very good.
The first questioner asks, he says that he feels a very strong resistance to self-inquiry, and he feels that enlightenment is a whole idea altogether for him. And he feels a strong resistance, and it's so strong that he's never felt such a resistance before. And he also feels at the same time hate, anger, and fear while doing the inquiry. And it feels to him as if he's fighting for his life.
Yes. The very fact that this response is coming up is indicative of the effectiveness of inquiry. You see? We must be clear about that. If nothing at all is the response, then, it's like you're in a state of mediocrity. But something is triggering something. The very fact that this person is attempting to look beneath the radar screen of the usual person, you see. He wants to find out who really I am, who really am I. And the minute the attention turns towards this question, it's stirring up something deeper, you see. And it's coming up a lot of resistance, he says. And this resistance, it's not coming from the true self. The resistance itself is coming from the mind and ego, which is not who we are. It's a function, an aspect of ourselves, but it's not who we are. And this mind is feeling like it's been in authority. It's been sitting in the king's throne somehow. And now this question is threatening to dethrone this false authority of the mind, you see. And so fear comes, resistance comes. It is as though we're living with an enemy inside the camp, And he's like the searchlight is looking. Who is causing this trouble inside, you see? And somehow some agitation is coming. My advice would be, don't give too much attention to the reaction and the feeling of resistance. In fact, take encouragement from it. That it's a sign that you're onto the right character, you're onto the culprit, you see. So the resistance is coming like that because of the effectiveness and the authenticity and the potential of this question to expose what is not true, what is not real, so that you, the real, can be left alone without the influence and the intrusion of the ego-driven and ego-ridden mind, you see. So this is why this resistance is coming. So don't be discouraged about it. Yeah.
Okay. And then he goes on to say that he feels that there's a me and an ego. And he feels that the ego is angry at the me for trying to kill it by striving for enlightenment.
Yes. This is the fight that 6.5 billion people are fighting on this planet. It says over 6 billion human beings are currently walking on the face of the earth. And although it is like 6.5 billion versions of the self, somehow under the influence of our conditioning and the limited identification with the body-mind, you see. And so we, the self, comes under the spell that we are this person, which is a construct, a modification, or a construction put together by our conditioning and education, our own personal mythology. All of this constitute an identity which is put on top of our original identity. And we are living as though we are this identity, as though we are the mind. You see? So when you think and believe that you are the mind, it's like you're here. It's like your life, you're inside the box of your own thinking, your own projection, your own world. And each of these worlds is really projecting a different version. It's like you put on yellow glasses, everything looks yellow. You put on blue glasses, everything looks blue. You take them off, and the world is not blue or yellow. It's technicolor, you see? But we are not seeing this because the filtering and the perspective that is created through the limited identification does not permit you to see in that broadness, you see. Now, that is as much as we can speak about the phenomenal seeing of objects outside of our body. But the real seeing occurs, which is more understanding. It's not a physical seeing, but more an intuitive understanding of who we are, as apart from the construction and identity we have in our mind. And this in-seeing or insight is provoking all of this thing. It's as though there's some force, some power that is not assisting this investigation. It wants to get in the way. It doesn't want you to find out who you really are. Because the moment you find out completely who you are, the game is up. You cannot be living under the domination or jurisdiction or influence of your own mind and projection. You see, you are free. You are Buddha. So for a while, the Buddhi is trying to block the Buddha. The Buddhi means the mind and intellect and conditioning, you see, is trying to get in the way. And this is what this person is experiencing, a kind of backlash. He says, or she says, that somehow it is as though the mind or the ego is trying to punish me for going for freedom. You see, if you turn towards freedom, I'm going to bite you, you see. And so, for many people, they shrink back. They feel, oh no, I better not upset my mind. With this type of conflict, you don't need any end. If you're living under the jurisdiction of the ego, you don't have a greater enemy outside anywhere in the universe. You and your ego is locked into battle. Then you only have to find out who you are, because I am the one who is aware of ego. Find out who is the greater. You see, you can live without ego, but ego cannot live without you. The first thing, you see. Then you should see that somehow I am the weakness of ego. Ego is not the weakness of me. Ego is what? It's only a distorted view